This is my first YouTube video, so I figured I'll start with something close. I'll start with a couple of my old MySpace blogs, and then I'll end with what I have. It all started in 2008. My wife and I got the news that we were going to have a baby. We gathered, we saved, we prepared. My wife did everything right. And now, the blogs. Subject, ISSN. Category, Life. April 20th, 2009. Today I have lived a parent's worst nightmare. I have outlived my child, my daughter, ISSN, named for a goddess, and her great aunt, passed before she could even start life. My heart feels like it's been ripped out of my chest. I feel like a heavy weight has been settled on my shoulders, and I find it unbearable. I look to my gods, and for the first time, I feel lost, empty. Why can this happen? I just don't know. Subject, 1 year. Category, Life. April 20th, 2010. Today she would have been 1. I look back with tears in my eyes and pain in my heart. It's still as hard today as it was last year. I find myself spending hours looking over pictures, watching a DVD that I still refuse to let Kat see. Today I spend almost an hour cradling a box that holds ashes, crying. I'm starting to worry that this isn't healthy, that there's just something wrong. Upstairs. I keep asking, why, gods? Why? Subject, Life and Loss. Category, Life. April 20th, 2011. She would have been 2, and still, after all this time, it hurts. I feel I can talk fully about the 2 days of hell that taught me about the pain that no parent should ever feel. It began Sunday, April 19th, 2009. Kat was 2 weeks away from her C-section, and things on the ranch were looking fresh and new again. But this would go terribly wrong before the sun set. That morning, we went through our life, and about noon, Kat said she hadn't felt Isis move since last night. So I took her to Banner. That was our hospital in Fallon. There we didn't see our doc, because he had been called away to deal with his own loss. Can't remember the doc's name, but he delivered the bad news and gave us the choice of staying and going through it or going home for the night and returning the next morning. On the way out, I stopped by the convenience store there near the hospital and bought a pack of cigarettes. They were a pack of Marlboro 24s. I hadn't had a smoke since I had learned that Kat was going to have Isis. We went to my aunt's house, and when we entered, I had a cigarette hanging out of my mouth. And from the look on our faces, my cousin Matt and Becky and my Uncle Bruce knew something bad had happened. As we told them, their hearts, especially Becky's, joined ours in breaking. That night I didn't sleep. I spent all night sitting out on the porch, watching the stars and the moon. And the next day I took Kat to the hospital, then had to go to Reno to get her mom. I have never driven that 50 miles so fast. And as I drove, I got pulled over out of Fernley. And the NHP officer, he walks up to me, and I was breaking down hard. I was really breaking down hard. And he looks at me and he says, "Sir, what seems to be the problem?" I sat there and I told him what was going on. That I was trying to get to the airport to get my mother-in-law. That my wife was in labor. That our child was going to be stillborn. And I kid you not, that big old tough Nevada highway patrolman, he was watering up, and he looked at me, and he got on his radio, and he says, "Dispatch, I am escorting a white Blazer to Reno Airport." And then he looked at me and he said, "Sir, put on your flashers and follow me." And we did, and we flew to the airport, and luckily Erica's mom, Kat's mom, was there on time, early actually. We got her in, and I flew back to Fallon. Throughout the day, family came and went. My cousins, Matt and Tanner, my Uncle Bruce, my Aunt Becky, my brother from another mother, Matt. When she arrived, she looked perfect. She had my daddy's blue eyes. She had Erica's nose. And, but she wasn't breathing, and we tried. We prayed. We prayed hard, and nobody ever answered. Now, by this point, I had been up for nearly 32 hours. So I headed home, back to the ranch, and no sooner had I walked in the door and home, the phone started ringing, and it was the hospital saying that Erica needed me. So I forced myself to get up off the couch, because I let the machine get it, and I walked over to the I made it as far as the front door before I collapsed, just from sheer exhaustion, and fell asleep. Woke up covered in grit and drool. So that's the full story, folks. I don't know if anyone will ever read this, as my space has turned into a ghost town. But I felt the story should be told. Maybe I'll tell the story, post it on YouTube one day. And now that day's here. So I'm going to leave you with what I hope are them. And in doing this, reading this, I hope that I might be able to help other folks who have lost. And don't ever let no one buffalo you that it's easy, because it's not. It never gets easier. It always hurts, though it does turn into a dull ache. Thank you, and good night.